Are you going to give me an English countdown? I don't speak German. Are we live right now? We might be. Willkommen Abenteuer, Adventures in Lollygagging. I still only know the first two words because, like I said, I don't speak German. And Jeff is... he taught me the rest of the words, but my mind is a black hole and I forget everything.
Either. You don't know any of the words.
I don't know what word. Did I misspeak, or are you correcting me?
Hello.
Let's wait a half hour to understand. To get the full sentence. How are we doing, everyone? Does everyone else remember how to speak German?
I never knew how.
Yeah, I'm went long.
I got a pop quiz for everyone because I like doing trivia. What is the greatest horror movie set in Germany about a coven of witches? It's very specific. There's only one, unless you count its remake, which is another hint. Who's got it? Anyone? Oh, Melissa, don't start Googling. That's cheating.
I always Google.
Anyone got it? Jeff, do you got it?
I mean, I Googled, so I know the answer
What'd you get?
Is Mark of the Devil?
No, that's not it, actually. Suspiria.
reason was thinking Suspiria, even though I've never seen it.
It only came up in our Delta Green game how many times?
Yes, that's like the sister movie to Inferno.
All right, so now that you've all disappointed me, you all lose a penny. Oh wait, that's a different game too.
Welcome to Fridays.
Let's do our session recap here. We opened session 1 with our researchers embarking on their morning commute to the Institute, navigating the bridges, the canals, and the old streets of Hamburg to reach St. Catherine's Church on the Elbe River. Each of you had your own encounter with a short, thin man that seemed strangely happy. A smile never left his face, even when confronted with a full can of aerosol spray paint. Most of you made it to work without any incident, but Naveen had a rough commute. She forgot her phone and had to return to her apartment, which led to her bicycle's tires being slashed. All of you were quite late when you filtered into the subterranean offices of our Magnus archive. The usual morning pleasantries led into the mundane tasks that must be completed at the start of a shift. And after work began in earnest, there was a small earthquake that hit the office, causing a water pipe to burst under the strain of the shaking and the vibration. And it flooded all of your desks and cubicles before the Institute's administrator, the elderly Johanna Klein, turned off the water line. And with these offices in complete disarray, your boss, the head archivist, Ludwig von Schluter, assigned you all to the newest statement that came in an effort to basically keep everyone busy while a cleanup crew came in to repair all the water damage and make sure there'd be no mold and things like that. The statement, given by Karen Jung, concerns her family, who recently had a strange infestation of hornets in their garden. She contracted the exterminator's Beacon and Howe to remove the nest, but their initial treatment was unsuccessful. Repeated requests for the exterminators to return went unanswered. And meanwhile, strange happenings occurred with even greater frequency in their garden. The bugs seemed attracted to roadkill and dead animals, dragging them towards the hive. Desperation set in, and Tom Jong drove to Beacon and Howe's offices to demand that they fix their work. But sadly, Tom died in a traffic collision on the way back. When you all reached the Zhang residence, a week or so after the statement was given, Zander, Lucien, and Emily walked around to the back garden, finding that the nest had grown dramatically, over 2 meters tall now. The buzz of the wings of the hornets was almost overwhelming, inducing nausea and dizziness. Zander was the first to see the nest, and he was momentarily stunned by its repugnance. Lucien felt the same and attempted to prevent Emily from entering the back garden, but she pushed past, and the impact of the sight, the smell, the sound, it caused her to stumble and fall, landing on the rotten corpse of a dead raccoon. The three researchers quickly left the garden to regroup and gather their wits. Meanwhile, Naveen and Frieda, you went to the front door to try and speak with Karen. Her son Nikolaus answered and seemed wary of visitors. After speaking to Karen, she reluctantly let you in the home, and it was immediately clear that something was wrong upon entering the house. Every blanket, pillow, and cushion was piled against the windows to block visibility. Your arrival seemed to cause a disturbance as well, with something else in the house. Something that began banging against a bedroom door in an attempt to be freed. And Karen called out, "No, Tom, don't come out." We're going to pick up focusing on Lucian, Emily, and Zander. Emily, you are covered in this greasy gore. It's on your face. A little bit of it got in your mouth. You're trying to wipe it off. Lucian, Zander, you felt sick from the vibration messing with your equilibrium, and seeing that and the smell, it does not help at all. We are going to activate horror mode here. In horror mode, GM intrusions happen on a 1 or a 2. If horror mode heightens, the range will be 1 through 3, and so on. It can continue to heighten and heighten until it is completely over and the danger is gone. The three of you pull yourselves out of the back garden. As soon as you turn the corner around the house, that sound, it does feel, it's still there. You can still hear it, but it's like there's a buffer. Like the sound just doesn't wrap around the house, like it's contained to that back garden. What are you three doing? How are you responding to this?
A lot's bigger than Miss Jong said.
Emily's just continuing to just spit and just, oh, disgusting, but, oh, yes, so much bigger. And
We must document this and check on the others. They're inside. And I'll take possible snap some photos of it.
Yeah, do you have a camera? Like that would be listed in one of the
I've
items.
got a budget cell phone, if that's okay.
Budgets, yeah, you'll be able to get some blurry photos.
Nice.
You know, like a Motorola Razr quality photos. So you grab your cell phone. You want to go back towards the nest then?
Just in general vicinity, yeah, to document what we've seen there.
Okay, Emily, Lucian, are you following? Do you want to go back there even?
Emily was sort of moving towards the front, and then she'll kind of look back to Lucian to see what he's doing.
Lucian is with Zander. He is curious. Plus, he does not trust Zander in his artistic capabilities to properly capture the full breadth of what we observed.
Okay, well, you take your pictures, and she's going to grab like a water bottle or something and just throw some water, swish it, spit it like on the road while they're doing their thing.
Absolutely. So you go to clean yourself off, Lucian, Zander, you go back there. As soon as you turn the corner again, you don't have to make the save again, but it hits you all over. It goes right to your stomach. You feel whatever you had for lunch that day is ready to come up. Zander, you're able to pull out your phone and move towards it. Every step towards that nest makes that feeling stronger and stronger. And it doesn't seem to make the hive aggressive towards you. Like they're not responding like they're going to swarm you, but it does make it more active. They start moving more and more in response to your proximity. They almost, it's like they feed off your life or something like that. Just the fact that you are there makes them much more energetic. You don't necessarily feel in danger right now. You're not touching them. You're only a few steps away. But there is something about you being close that is causing a disturbance in this nest.
It seems safe for now. Do you think we can capture maybe a hornet?
Do you have any jars on your person?
I'm sure we have Tupperware.
You have carried Tupperware here.
Not with me, it's in the car.
Do you have anything with a lid or covering. I do not have a sample kit.
And Emily will come up. She has a sewing kit, like in her bag. So I'm kind of imagining it's kind of one of those small little ones that, kind of has like the flip lid. And so she can like dump out the little, kind of thread and needle threader that's in there. And she'll kind of like pass that over to Lucian.
So you come up, your face is still kind of wet from cleaning it off. And you dump it all out. Yeah.
The key to acquiring a specimen is to remain calm. Remember that anxiety is merely the dizziness of freedom. And then Lucian will attempt to capture an insect of a size commensurate with the container.
All right. Most of these hornets are about 2 inches long, and there are plenty of them all over the back garden. You don't even need to go to the nest to capture one. There's plenty that are buzzing about. They're mostly red with these splashes of green, and they just have far too many legs. You can't call it a hornet with how many legs it has. You can't even count them because they're moving so fast. It almost looks like a centipede with how they ripple. The wings themselves are even longer than the body. You're definitely going to be able to put one in here. Trying to put a whole bunch of them in there would be a bit more difficult, but it seems like you're trying for just one, right?
I want only one.
All right. That will be a speed test, difficulty 4.
I see. I have gymnastics. Would this help in this situation?
We did say last session that you could use gymnastics trying to capture a hornet, so I think we can roll over the approval there.
Hell yes.
As long as you say you're doing a cartwheel or something in between, right?
What about perception or stealth?
In this case, I would allow stealth because there's a lot more cover and things like that. Last time we said you couldn't do stealth because it was aware of you. You let it out of Tupperware. And I think perception works too with how small these are. So you can take all 3 of those, which would ease it down to difficulty 1.
I am wearing all black. Does that assist me?
That's part of the stealth.
But
you're not getting lower than 1. I'm giving you the difficulty 1.
Fine. I will roll. I rolled a 5.
All right. Describe what this looks like as you single one of these out on maybe a fence or a hedge nearby.
Lucian looks at these swarms, trying to conceptualize the beauty, measure the angles in the swirls, and then sees one break off from the swarm and rest on the fence. And Lucian will say to it, "Ah, you too are an outsider." And then he will approach it calmly and quietly, and he will scoop it into the container.
All right. And just like that, the calmness, the quietness, it doesn't even try to escape. Like you just kind of close the lid on it and it just almost falls into the container, and you just click that little plastic tab shut. And you have one of these hornets is the only real term you can think of, but it's definitely not a hornet.
I shall call you Charles.
Zander, you have your budget phone, and you've gotten a couple pictures of the nest as best you can. Emily, what are you doing in the meantime?
I think Emily was just sort of assisting, so she was just clearing out all of the crap out of her mouth, and then kind of giving over the sewing kit. And then I would say that she has rubber gloves in the survival kit, so she'll offer to Lucian that she has a rubber glove if he wanted to put the sewing kit inside the rubber glove to make sure that it wouldn't like accidentally open up. Would this be helpful to keep the kit in the rubber glove and then tie it off?
Lucian will look at you and then back at Charles. And he will say, yes, Charles is not afraid of the dark. And then he will lower it into the glove.
Just kind of like bring the like wrist part of the rubber glove up and over so that it won't open up.
As you're doing this, Emily, that's perfectly fine to do. It doesn't take a roll or anything. But the you're still near the nest. You're still feeling sick and nauseous and a little bit dizzy, but the nerves have calmed down a little bit more. And as they have, you feel a dull like aching in your jaw, like where you fell. Might have bruised the bone.
Oh, this. I was so concerned about the particles in my mouth. I didn't consider that I may have actually injured myself. This is, and she's kind of doing the jaw, moving her mouth all around, like
pops a little bit. You kind of like run your tongue over some of your teeth, and it almost feels like one of your teeth is loose.
Oh no! Oh no! Oh, that's oh dear, I don't want to. No, that's a loose tooth. That's not good at all. We must watch where my feet are going. I don't want to exacerbate this. I'll get that checked out later. Zander, are you good with your photographs?
Got what I need. We should check on the others.
You agree? All three of you then head back around towards the front, and we'll go inside. Frieda, Naveen, you are in this house that is complete mess. You were sitting on couches without cushions. Like you were on the frame of this couch because all of the cushions are piled up against windows and like the sliding glass doors to the back, things like that. You heard this jingling, like the twisting of a doorknob, but it wasn't working. It sounded like someone was struggling with it and in frustration, like banging against the door. Very thin wooden door. Karen calls out, "Tom, no." And as she calls that out, she gets up and she runs to the door, and the door that is like jiggling, and then it clicks. You hear the click and it starts to open, and she just barely reaches that door handle, grabs it and slams it shut again. And that's when the banging on the door gets louder. There's no talking, there's no voice, but whatever's in there is frustrated that it's stuck. And Karen she immediately starts sobbing. "Tom, Shatsi, please calm down. It's okay. Xavier just leaving. They're leaving, Shatsi." And then she turns and looks at you, and you just see pure desperation and fear in her eyes. "Please go now. Don't come back." Nikolaus, who was sitting next to you, "Mom, it's okay, Nikolaus. Papa will calm down when they leave. Please, go."
You do not want to come with us?
No, please. And there's just banging on the door.
Said he was dead.
I was tired. It was exhausting. Please just go. And then the door like opens again, like a couple inches, and she gasps and then pulls it back shut again.
"Karen, come with us. Nicholas, come on. We should leave. Go outside."
No, we cannot go. Nicholas, come to me. Nicholas is like, he stands up and takes a step towards her, but then he's scared to go over there too, and he kind of looks back, but then he starts slowly moving towards her. "Please just go. It'll be fine if you leave."
I have an ability, and I'm wondering if it can come into play right now, called Understanding, which is you observe or study a creature or object. Your next interaction with that creature or object gains 1 asset. Wondering if I can use that to specifically understand, like, what might work to get this woman and her kid to leave.
Yeah, you were spending some time with her, talking with her. It wasn't a long time, but we'll say that like you were very much focused on her. I don't know if there's necessarily something that would get her to leave, but you understand that she is a woman that's at the end of her rope. She's tired. She's exhausted. She's mentally afraid. And her husband apparently died, but is apparently back. And she is you can tell she's scared of losing him again, that feeling again. So whether that would actually help her, help you get her to leave or not, it helps you understand her a little bit more. And I'd say that would give you an asset.
Okay. I'd like to say it as gently as possible. Karen, this is not something you need to handle by yourself. This is not something you can handle by yourself. Let us take care of this. Let us take care of you.
All right. I want an intellect roll here. As you're trying to persuade her, any skills you have for persuasion would work. This is going to be very difficult. You can tell that she's very much focused on just keeping the door shut. She is hearing you. She's sort of listening to you, but she's very frazzled and just pretty much entirely distracted.
Of course. How would the asset I just gained come into play?
So what that'll do is that'll ease this task by 1. One second here. Let me just double check. Yeah, so it's difficulty 6. To do this, we'll say that your asset is easing it by 1, which makes it difficulty 5. Frieda, if you want to assist somehow by offering some other encouragement or something like that, you could do so as well. Naveen, if you have any skills or anything like that, any training that would help lower this difficulty.
I'm trained in intellect tasks, and persuasion is an intellect task. So I don't know.
You're trained in all intellect tasks?
Pretty sure. Yeah, it's called courageous intellect defense. I'm sorry, not.
Okay. That makes a bit more sense. But you have persuasion, so that'll lower it again. So you're easing it by 2 already, 1 from the asset and 1 from persuasion, which is bringing this down to difficulty 4.
And is there any support Frieda would like to offer in this mode, or should I go out now?
I'm trying to see what I could do to offer. Like skills wise, I have like perception. That's really about it. I have an inability in discerning like motives and stuff, so I'm no help there.
Fuck me, I should have discerned. I do have discerning motive.
I don't think you're necessarily trying to understand her motive right now. You are just trying to persuade her to leave. Okay. Frieda, since you don't have an inability in persuasion, you can still offer assistance, and it would lower it by 1. You still have to like say what you're offering, though. That would help.
Some space and some sun would help. If we could just maybe go out and get coffee, a more comfortable place to speak, something delicious for your son to eat.
And as you're saying this, you're trying to speak softly, both of you, but there's still the bashing on this wood. Naveen, go ahead and give me that persuasion roll. It's going to be difficulty 3 now, which means you're looking for a 9 or better. I'm going to offer you an intrusion here since you failed on this. I don't think you have any XP actually, do you? So you actually cannot deny this GM intrusion. So normally a GM intrusion, I offer it to you and you can spend an XP to deny it. But since I'm offering it to you, you get an XP for me doing this. and you can offer an XP to someone else in the scene, which would go to Frieda by default because she's the only one here. So both of you get an XP for this intrusion.
Hell yes.
As you're saying this, you see that there's in Karen's eyes, like you're making sense to her, but she's so exhausted. She's so scared. But before she can even answer or say anything, the wood on that door splinters. And you see this arm break through this. It looks like the shape of an arm, but that is not flesh. It's dusty. It's ashy. It's papery. It almost looks like a hornet's nest in the shape of an arm, but it's animated. And you see it smash through and pull some of the panels. And Karen immediately just lets go of the door, screaming bloody murder, and rushes back towards you, grabbing Nicholas as she goes. That door pulls through the door open that without Karen able to keep it shut, it just rips right open. You see bits of paper and ash fall as it rips off the arm. The creature seemingly oblivious to this humanoid person walks out of this room in the general shape of a man, but there is no other real human quality here. You see like layers and layers of paper that overlap, and it looks like a hornet's nest that just grew and grew and grew into this strange shape. You don't see any face, but there are holes where the eyes should be, holes where the mouth should be. You see that there are hornets, these hornets that aren't really hornets, that are just wrapping around and crawling in and out of the eyes and the mouth and various other centimeter wide holes around the body as this thing just stumbles out. Karen yells, Tom, please, no, stay. They're leaving. And she just pushes Nicholas towards both of you. Please go. And she like shoves her child towards you, asking you to leave. What are you doing?
Frieda will. This is fucking freaky. What the fuck is wrong with this man?
Which actually reminds me, I'm sorry, both of you need to give me intellect defense rolls here.
Okay.
This is difficulty. I'm sorry.
Makes sense.
Difficulty 4.
That's gross.
And Naveen, since you have courageous, this is reduced to difficulty 3 for you. It's eased.
That's just an intellect, like I just rolled the dice. That's
yes,
to the intellect.
It still works like normal intellect.
Okay. Difficulty 2 is what I beat.
Okay, so Naveen, you're not rolling too hot tonight.
No, I'm rolling like garbage.
Frieda, you are taking 2 stress because the sight of this is still completely messed up. You are not able to avoid all of it. Naveen, you're taking 4 stress. So that means you're gaining a level of stress, and that means all of your tasks are hindered by 1. You can gain up to 4 levels of stress before you are really you start taking injuries, like real physical injuries. But 4 points of stress.
At 4 now.
4 points, but that's 1 level because like a Cypher system, every tier of 3, so every 3 stress is 1 level.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
But just remember your total points, and we'll be able to figure out the level from there. So both of you are panicking by this. Frieda, you said you're taking Nick?
Yeah.
Or you're just leaving?
I'm getting Nick outside.
Yeah, you grab and you just head towards the front door, which thankfully is away from Tom. Naveen, you're a little slower on the uptake here because of this, but you're still very much capable of acting. What do you do?
I'd like to grab Karen by the arm and try and sort of run to the door.
All right. This will count as an attack. I know you're not trying to harm her, but an attack in Cypher system is whenever you're doing something to someone that they don't want to have happen.
Yeah.
So she would be essentially attempting to resist you. So this is going to be a might task difficulty 3.
Might difficulty 3.
There we go. That's a major effect too.
Fucking finally.
Your strength.
Nice. Nice.
So describe what this happens and what would your major effect be? Like, what would you want to accomplish as
I
well?
would love the major effect to be some kind of like closing door or some kind of barricade to prevent dude from coming after us.
Absolutely. So we'll say that Karen is just completely off balance. Frieda has ripped Nicholas away from her, and Karen kind of fell forward because despite her handing off her child, she also didn't want to let go. So she's pulled off balance, and Naveen, that means that you're able to just grab her and keep her momentum moving forward. And as you move into the dining room through this narrow doorway. There's no actual door, but it's just the opening between rooms, and there is a cabinet with. It's a display cabinet with all sorts of knickknacks. And as you run past, you're able to just pull on that cabinet. It should be anchored for an earthquake, but it's not. And it just falls forward and it just completely blocks that doorway. As you're able to pull her through, you block the door behind, and the four of you get out that front door in literally just seconds after this happened. Karen is screaming, not actually words, but just out of fear, frustration, stress. Nicholas is sobbing, "Pa, Pa!" And as the four of you get out of the door, that's when Lucian, Emily, Zander, you have just turned around the corner and you see four very stressed and panicked people rushing out of the door, slamming the door shut behind them.
Is anyone injured?
And Frieda's kind of at a loss for words, as she's just kind of trying to soothe Nicholas. But obviously he's super upset and she's so confused as well.
And same for Naveen, she is not really paying attention to you guys. She's talking to Karen, saying things like, "You're his mother, he needs you, you need to be with him," and that energy.
That's
not really focused on any of you.
That is not Karen, a person anymore. That's not your husband.
Karen just, when you're on the front stoop, she just collapses down. Frieda and Nicholas just wiggles and writhes in the way that kids do until you're forced to just let go of him. And he falls down hard to the ground, but he immediately scrambles over to his mom, who is just sobbing. "Oh, he's not dead. He's not dead." And she begins going and she's repeating this, and it's quieter and quieter until you see that her eyes are just glazing over from the stress. She's having a psychotic break in front of you. You can see that she's almost going into catatonia, and Nicholas is just holding her. Mom, don't let him hurt Dad. Don't let him hurt Dad.
We're not going to hurt your father. Why are the windows covered?
Mom said that we cannot let anyone see. He gets upset when we have visitors. That's why I said you can't come in.
Does he try to make you guys go to the backyard?
No. He's my dad. He loves us. Mom, please. And she's just completely glazed over at this point.
Yeah.
Is what they're saying is true? Did you see that, Frieda, Naveen?
Emily will try to go towards the look and see if there's windows in the front door or anything.
So the front door would have been closed off. Everything has blankets and pillows covering if you go through the windows, but the front door, we just slammed it shut. There was a lot of movement. It's safe to say something shifted, so you can see in, and you see a very, very dark dining room. You see that there are dinner tables that are on the floor, just no one bothered to put them back up again. You see the occasional bug flapping around, but you don't see much else. You do see that there is a doorway that leads off to the right, but at this angle, you just can't see through that.
What is inside? Someone tell me what is inside.
This commotion. It sounds like they're saying Tom is inside.
Naveen is too sort of in her head with the force threats. Like she's really just trying to keep together with this woman.
Tom was dead.
My dad is not dead. He's inside. He's very upset. You must go. Leave us alone.
It does not seem that it would be safe to leave you alone. The state of this, you don't look like you're being cared for.
My dad won't hurt us.
How long has he been like that?
A few days.
And you say he is not hurting you?
No. He's my dad.
Then there's no problem, yeah?
No, go, please.
Would
Just
not
go.
say there is no problem here. I don't understand why we're having to. Why are all of you trying to convince a 9-year-old?
I think we're trying to figure out what is going on here.
Well, then let's finish talking in the van. We're not letting these people back in the house. Karen, I'm sorry, but
we say that to Karen, and she's still crying. She's still breathing heavily, but there's like no recognition. Like even as you like move your face in front of hers, her eyes do not focus on anything. They are just 1,000-yard stare.
Young Nicholas says, "It is okay if I can check on him."
No. He's very upset by visitors.
Why would he be mad at me?
That's not alive. I don't know what that is, but it's not a man.
He is alive.
Would your father be upset if you came with us at least to get lunch?
Wait. We cannot leave him. You must go. You. Not us.
Nicholas, do you have other family in the area? Aunts, uncles, cousins?
No.
Karen, we should go. Let us go. You know we need to go.
I don't think she is responding. She is.
Then at Emily saying this, Naveen is going to gently put her hand on Karen's shoulder and walk her to the van.
You try to like get her up, and there's no movement. She's like sitting on the stoop right now. You like can move her arm and everything. She does not offer any resistance, but there's just no mobility on her own.
Zander, Lucian, can one of you please help me?
I will check on the father if he is.
No, you can't.
I'm sorry, son. One of you hold him back.
And he just like he starts like slamming his fists on your waist. Just you can't go in there.
I'll pass him to somebody if you can take him.
Emily will see if she can kind of distract him with something like, it seems like your mother needs you. She's not doing well. Can you sit with her? I think having you next to her will be a comfort, and maybe that will snap her back a little bit quicker. Can we sit with her?
Let's get an intellect roll for this. I'm going to say it's hindered twice. Once by his mom being catatonic in front of him, and once by you all very specifically saying that you're going in to see the father.
Yeah.
So it's going to be 4 total.
Okay. So that I can. Okay. Let's get back in the swing of this. So I can spend a couple of intellect points.
Yes, you can spend 3 intellect points to ease it by 1. If you have an edge, that reduces the cost of points that you're spending. So it would be 2 points for you.
Okay. So then I will spend 2 points, and then I rolled a 2.
and we have activated horror mode. So this is a GM intrusion here.
Okay.
So what do we want to spend the GM intrusion on?
Oh dear. Oh dear.
What specifically are you saying to Nicholas?
Basically just trying to focus him back on his mom, that like she's not doing well. She needs you. She'll come back to you quicker if you're sitting next to her, put your arm around her, like kind of trying to keep him focused on like, this is what he needs to be doing. This is what's going to help his mom. And trying to make that his priority is his mom.
So he was pounding ineffectually on Zander, and you pull him away. You pull him towards Karen, and you are talking to him, and his hands go down, his head goes down, and he seems quiet and contemplative for a moment. Like you have reached him, you think, maybe. And then before you can even react, he turns and he runs. And with the speed of a 10-year-old child who runs day in and day out, he runs back behind the house around the corner.
Lucian will chase after the boy.
Okay. Give me a speed test here. I think we're just going to keep that same difficulty 4.
I see. I have gymnastics in perception. I could leap over the fence to.
I'll give you the
slow
gymnastics to leap the fence. I'm not going to give you perception on this.
I see. Then I will use. Oh, goodness. The difficulty, could you repeat it, please?
It was 4, but now it's lowered to 3 with gymnastics.
I will spend 3 speed to lower it again. Yes?
All right. So it's difficulty 2, so you're looking for a 6 or better.
Okay. I rolled a 2.
My gosh.
What's the matter?
Oh,
You've never taken a
no.
shortcut before? And as you will say, as you go to the fence, you're trying to gymnastics over it. This kid went through the gate and slammed it shut behind him. By the time you go to the fence, it appears that this fence is rotten. And you go to leap over it, and the wood just crumbles beneath you. Not through anything of your own doing, but it just literally could not support your weight. And you go and you tumble to the ground. Why don't you take 1 point of stress from the scrapes and the tumble? And at this point, Nicholas is gone. He went back around the house and he disappeared, likely through a back door back into the house.
Scheiße. I will get up and I will return and I will say, the boy got away. I think he is back inside. We must go after him, Zander.
Well, of course, I'm ready to head to the front door.
Let's see him as well.
Yes, that's 2 of you that want to go back inside. What about the rest of you? What's your plan?
If Karen is not moving, I will also go inside and pull out my pepper spray from my master bag. Or I do.
Emily will also go inside.
Frieda will remain in the doorway, kind of keeping an eye on Karen to make sure she doesn't run away, but also to be able to run inside if she needs to assist.
Yeah.
We are simply here to check on the facts of her statement. They say the father is inside, but he's pronounced dead. And I'll peek through the front door.
The front door was unlocked. You slammed it shut, but you didn't lock it behind you. So you're able to open it back up. Karen, no response whatsoever. She is just... She needs real psychiatric help at this point. And Zander, you said you were going in first. Lucy and I assume you're right behind, followed by Naveen,
Yes.
and then Emily, and then Frieda in the door. As you go in,
But oh no. Before he opens the door and we go inside, Lutzin will offer words of encouragement as I will use my Cypher Weaver's encouragement, and I will talk about not letting the world you see cause you fear. We do not describe the world we see. We see the world we can describe. And so, this will encourage your three. One moment. Your encouraging words in presence motivate someone next to you, granting them an asset on their next task. So this will be Zander, since he is out front.
But we never rolled for the level of this cipher, I believe. So you see that 1d6 roll level, you might get a 5 or a 6, which would allow you to encourage more people.
I agree.
There you go.
And I rolled a 5.
All right, so you can encourage up to 3 characters.
I will encourage Zander, Emily, and my sister Frieda. Naveen is with the mother, yes?
Frieda was the one who was staying with Karen. Naveen had the pepper spray ready to go in.
Then I will replace that last choice. Naveen instead of Frieda. She doesn't listen to me anyhow. She is my sister.
So the three of you have an asset on your next task.
What does the encouragement do? Oh, it's an asset.
Which means your next task will be eased by 1. It is your next roll, though. So it'll happen on the very next roll.
All right, thanks.
That is the most understandable thing you've ever said to me.
It is only because your mind is small. My vocabulary is large.
I've come well to know that. Shall we go in?
Yes.
Emily takes a deep breath and she pulls out her extendable baton out of her purse. And so she takes a deep breath upon hearing Lucian's words, and she's got the baton out at the ready.
Is it dark inside the home?
It's not pitch black, but it is very much dark. And as you enter, there's this sickly, sweet, and sour smell. It's very, very pungent inside there as well. The group of you move in, and it's only a few steps before you have that doorway. And you see that display cabinet that's been rocked over, and it's sitting at like a 45-degree angle right now across the hall. You could try to push it back up. That wouldn't be too difficult to do. You can crawl underneath it. Looking past, there's no sign of Tom right now.
I'll simply lift this.
Yeah,
I'm looking
lift
for Nicholas. Are there any signs of him?
So from the dining room, you could see further back into a kitchen. There is a sliding door that doesn't appear that it was opened at all, but it could have been shut behind him as well. You don't necessarily see any signs of Nicholas yet, but you do know that most of the house is through this hallway.
Okay.
This hallway kind of like cuts the house in half.
Okay.
Xander, you go to... No worries. You lift up this display case, and it's not difficult. One person can push it back, but all of these knickknacks, all these precious moments type, pieces of ceramic and glass and picture frames, they all just start crashing and tumbling down. And with the relative quiet of this house, you hear the occasional buzz of these insects going through, but otherwise it's deathly quiet. And every single time it falls, you can't help but cringe a little bit at that loud noise that just sort of echoes. You push it back and it rocks a little bit before you get it back, and you're able to step through, and you find yourselves in the living room that Frieda and Naveen were just in. There is a couch and several chairs. All of the cushions are ripped from them. They were put up against the sliding doors and the windows in the back. And there's another hallway on the far side of this living room that appears to go to 3 bedrooms.
I'll look around. You said picture frames are present. I'll try to get an idea of what the father might look like.
Yeah, you are just stepping over. You are able to find this family portrait, and it looks like it wasn't too long ago. You see Karen on there, you see Nicholas, and you see what you assume to be Tom by the way that he's holding both of them. He's a taller man, not extremely athletic looking, but he does seem to be in shape, moderate weight for his size. And he's got short black hair that's not quite a buzz cut, but a little bit longer, like the type of haircut you would have in a corporate setting that just is easy to maintain. A dad haircut, essentially.
This is who we're looking for. Tom, as they say.
Naveen, you were the only one to see Tom. Tom doesn't look anything like this picture.
That's not the man we saw. That's not who Karen was calling Tom.
I mean, because what you saw was a monster, not a person.
That's what I'm saying.
Are we not here to retrieve the child?
That's what I thought.
Oh, of course. If he's in danger,
Yeah.
and this is not Tom.
If he's in
We are
this
not.
house, he's in danger.
We are not law enforcement. We are archivists. We take the boy because we are kind people.
Yes.
But the creature or the husband is outside our operational purview.
Like to see what he's turned into if it would not be too dangerous for us, just for the sake of our thoroughness of our notes. But yes, the safety of the child is utmost. Should we split up and search the house?
Lucian
Rather
wants
not
to
split
look
up.
out the sliding door and see if there's any evidence of the
Yeah,
boy
I'm
in
going
the
with.
backyard.
Going with.
So Lucian and Veen, you said you're both going to the sliding door, right? So you
Yes.
essentially are splitting up then, because you two are heading back towards the kitchen in the dining room area, and then Emily and Zander, you moving towards the living room and the bedroom then. Lucian and Naveen, we'll start with you two. You head towards that sliding door. You see that there is a door that looks to be like, you know how you can tell like it's a garage door, like it's an outdoor. It's a little bit thicker door, but it's also where the layout is. It doesn't make sense that it would be going directly outside. You can tell there's one of those in the kitchen, and then the sliding
do
door
not
is.
Understand this theory about garage
You can't tell what a
doors.
garage door looks like compared to a regular door in a hallway or something. No, okay.
cannot.
Do you see a lot of garage doors and hallways?
Usually like a bit heavier,
No, I'm
right?
saying a garage door is heavier. It looks like it's got like
But
the rubber
does it-
seal on the bottom.
Look heavier until I touch it and push it. I am not aware of its weight.
It doesn't look like the thin paneling. We're moving past this. You see a garage door. It's clearly labeled garage. It says garage on there, and it's got a little hooks for car keys. There are plenty of keys on those hooks. You move to the sliding door, and you see it's latched and locked right now. So if someone came through here recently, they locked it behind them. Did you say you wanted to open it to look in the backyard?
Yes. Sorry.
All right, you pop
pop-up
that latch
window
and you
was
pull
very
it, and there's
annoying.
actually. I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. I was talking over you.
I had a pop-up window. It was very annoying.
You got to get that blocker then. Every
No.
30 seconds when we're playing, Zoom has those pop-up windows that come up. All right. So you pull on the sliding room door, and you realize that there's a dowel rod in the track as well, like the theft prevention. So whoever, if Nicholas came back into the house, he did not come in through the sliding door. You pop that dowel rod out, you open the door again, and you are hit immediately again with that wave of nausea and dizziness as the droning of the bugs is there. The nest is not near the house, it's towards the back of the garden, but just opening up that barrier, just it's a physical sense that overwhelms you all. Naveen, this is your first time seeing the nest and feeling this as well. I need an intellect defense roll from you here. It is difficulty 5, but you have the courageous, which lowers it down to 4. So
Okay.
you're going to need 12 or better.
Would my Cypher apply?
Yes,
this
it does
roll?
apply here.
Oh,
So that lowers it
amazing.
again
Thank you.
down to difficulty 3. Thank you,
Thank
Lucy.
Nice.
I forgot.
Bit rolling like garbage, so all the help I can get. It's done enough with the 7 difficulty too.
All right. So you are taking 2 more stress here, which I believe puts you up to 6 total.
Yeah, it does.
So you have 2 levels of stress then, and that means that all tasks are hindered by 2. So actually, it would have been
Oh fuck!
raised
It
anyways
would have
because
been an even bigger
it's
fail.
fine. You failed
I'm
anyway,
sorry.
so
Yeah.
no, it's fine. All that matters is that it wasn't a GM intrusion. So yeah, you are up to 2 levels of stress now with 6 total points. If you get up to 12 points, that's when you start taking physical.
How do I roll hindered by 2? Is that just like
that's just the math that we do with the difficulty.
okay?
So the die always stays the same. You're always rolling d20.
Got
yes,
it, got
Lucian?
it. Thank you.
Speaking of GM intrusions, then I rolled my 2, chasing after the boy. Should that have been an intrusion? I am sorry.
My intrusion was that the fence broke on you and you took a stress.
Understood. Apologies.
Sorry, I didn't clearly state that was what my intrusion was. Okay. So you 2 are hit by that wave of dizziness. A quick look. You don't see Nicholas out there yet. Let's go ahead and cut to Emily and Zander. As you are slowly making your way through the living room, there's only one other way to go here. You see that there is the very first door is the top half is shattered. It was broken through, the wooden panels splitting out, and it's also halfway ajar, like it wasn't fully closed. And then there are 2 other doors that are closed here.
Frieda said that he broke through this one. Take a peek inside.
You peek inside and you see a dresser. It looks like a bedroom. You open it up and the bed is wide. This is probably the master bedroom, one of the biggest rooms in the house. You see that there is a window on the back wall that is wide open and ajar. And what actually is most disturbing here is that you look at this bed and where there should be comforters, where there should be blankets and pillows, it looks papery. Like there are just layers and layers of that like brown hornet's nest paper that have just been built up on this bed. It looks as if it's covered a lot of the bed. You still see that there are bits of blanket that stick out. You still see the footer of the bed sticking out. The paper is crushed and crumpled in places. It's hard to really take this in. What could have happened here other than like a nest of hornets growing on the bed as well? It doesn't make any sense.
Nicholas, are you in here?
You don't hear a response. You also don't hear any real movement other than the occasional buzzing of insects.
He's not in here. You should check the next one.
I might. Maybe we go inside and make sure he's not hiding under bed or in a closet.
Go for it.
You're able.
Emily will sneak in and figure kids hide in beds and in closets. So,
yeah, perfectly fair. You open the closet, and it's clothing, stacks of shoe boxes, odds and ends, no child. As you head towards the bed, you put your hand down, and you hear like a crinkle of paper as you almost recoil by touching that. It was instinct to just let yourself down. You go down to a knee, you look under. Give me a speed defense roll here, difficulty 3.
Oh dear. So I will spend 3 to ease it by 1.
Yeah.
Since I don't have an edge in speed. And I
just barely passed. All right. Wait, I'm sorry. You have a level of stress too, don't you?
I do have 1 level of stress.
So that means that the difficulty is raised by 1. But you have an asset. Yes, thank you. Sorry.
Inspiring words. At the
So then that's just stress in the asset.
So it is still a success.
Okay.
Yes.
Yay.
You are welcome.
Thank you.
You put your head down, you look under, it's dark, you kind of peer through, you get the sense like there's storage under there. You're looking, you don't see anything that looks like a body, and then as something just flies out directly towards you and just bangs into your mouth, you're able to pull back and swat it away before it does any actual damage to you, but one of these hornets just came right at you.
And Emily, I feel like she swats it, but it's like right where her like jaw is sore, and so then it just smarts when she like hits it, and she just kind of has to like brace a little bit. But she needs to look, and she visually wants to make sure that there is no child under there. So she you
got the sense that there was no child when you looked first. So you're very confident there's no child in here.
Oh, and so she kind of turns back to Zander, and she's just like holding her. I just hit myself right to where my tooth is loose, but there is no Nicholas in here now.
Why are you smacking yourself? Come on,
It was a hornet. It's gone now. Give me a hand. And she's trying to like crawl back out of this room.
Do you two go into the next room?
Yeah.
You click open the next door, and here you actually do hear what sounds to be movement. You hear soft sobbing of a child. You hear the crinkling of paper. And as you slowly open and you see what looks to be like a playroom, a child's playroom, there are like Legos on the floor, books and blocks strewn everywhere, all sorts of action figures that have not been packed up. And then in the back, there is a rocking chair. And seated in this rocking chair is this monstrosity of a person, if you can call it that. This is Tom. This is the paper that is like a hornet's nest animated in the vague shape of a man. And seated on his lap is Nikolaus, who has a book, but it's not actually open. And Nikolaus has his hand over his dad's shoulder, and he's kind of like sobbing into him. You see that the tears are getting some of that paper wet, and some of the bugs are coming out through some of the holes in the paper, and they're just swarming. They are crawling all over Nikolaus too, but Nikolaus in this state doesn't really seem to notice. And the dad is just rocking the chair, but as soon as you open that door, you see like this head, no eyes, there are just holes there, but the head crackles and crinkles with that paper, and you hear this vibrating, this drone that gets louder and louder upon you breaking the sanctity of this room. Both of you looking at this, I need intellect difficulty 4 tests. Zander, I believe you have not used the asset yet.
Correct.
And Emily, this is hindered for you because of your stress level.
Okay.
I have an inability in this too, so it'll negate.
Okay, so inability means that it's hindered again.
Okay.
Yeah, so it negates your cipher. That's exactly right. So difficulty 4 for Zander, difficulty 5 for Emily. Zander, you got a 17. Oh, yeah, that beats 5, so you were fine there. How about you, Emily?
So I'm going to... All right, I'm going to spend 3. And can you double check the math on that?
Yeah, you're good. You spent 3, which means that you needed to be difficulty 4, which means you pass. So both of you pass
even
here.
Taking my level of stress into account?
The stress is what made it 5, and then you brought it back down.
Okay.
Yeah. So
you're perfect. All right. 15.
But both of you seeing this, you can't avoid all of the stress. You're still both taking 2 points of stress here. Emily, I think that puts you at 5, not 6, right?
Correct.
Okay, so you're not at level 2 yet, but you're getting close. What do you do confronted with this and this droning, this very aggressive and very angry? And Nicholas starts sobbing, hearing this. Pa, no, it's fine. They will leave. Please go. And he's just crying into the torso of this nest man.
It does notice us. I will just grab the boy and go, and I'll run into the room and forcefully take him out.
And while Zander's doing that, Emily is gonna like put her, fingers in her hand and whistle for Lucian and Naveen.
So Lucian, Naveen, Frieda, you all hear that whistle. Whether you know it means come running or not, you know that it is a signal of some sort. Zander, I'm going to give you. There is initiative in Cypher where essentially you roll speed and you determine whether you go first or you go after the bad guy. I'm going to give it to you here. Both of you are moving, so it makes sense that you will be able to go first. This is going to be an attack to try and pull him away. So it is going to be a might attack. And the difficulty here is 3.
Okay. And I'm hindered because I have 4 stress. That's 1 level, I think.
Yes, so that's difficulty 4 total for you then.
Okay, let's see if I have anything.
And Emily, I'm going to say the whistle is not going to be your
is
action
a known
either.
Whistle. That everyone knows that's the rally to me signal.
Okay, fair enough.
Naveen, did you hear that? That sounded like Emily's call. She is rallying us for defense. Or it was, she needs to use the bathroom. They are very similar, those 2 whistles.
Well, why don't we assume it's the first one for now?
That is logical.
For skills, I have endurance, and that gives me improved physical fitness for strength checks with the supplier.
Endurance, I see more as lasting, enduring things longer rather than muscling through.
I'll just spend might points, right? I can do that.
Yeah. So 3 points will lower it by 1.
I'll spend the 3.
All right. So then it'll be
rolled
difficulty
terribly, 4.
All right. You rush forward and you grab Nicholas, and as your hands go around, they actually sink into this paper. As you're trying to grab the boy, you just misjudge the depth as the paper starts to rise up, and your hands go in, and you feel buzzing in the legs and the pincer mouths of these insects here, and this drone gets loud, and this mouth hole opening just kind of begins to rip and tear, and you're face to face with this, and you see bugs begin pouring out of here as a swarm of insects just begin swarming you entirely. Emily, you still have an action here outside of the whistle. And then we're going to have the NPCs go, and then we'll say that Lucian, Frieda, and Naveen, you can show up. It's a small house. You're going to be able to reach it pretty quickly. What would you like to do, Emily?
Emily is probably going to assume that Zander is going to take Nicholas. So she is probably looking to do the thing that Nicholas isn't going to like, which is, she's going to be at the ready. So she's going to move closer, and she's got this baton at the ready, but she wants Zander to have grabbed Nicholas away and be moving out before she kind of hits the thing. So that's what she's kind of ready for. So she's just maneuvering a little bit closer.
Okay. Nicholas is small enough, and Zander will say that he definitely moved him a bit. If you want to take the attack, I'm fine with you taking this without risking hitting.
Okay. I am probably not the best person to do this, but I'm the person that's here, so I am going to give this a shot. I am
might difficulty 3 plus your stress level, whatever it is.
Okay. And in light weapons, I am practiced.
Practiced, I believe, is the step below trained, or is it? Yeah. So that just means that it's a straight roll.
It just means straight. Okay. All right. Sorry. So you said it was a might?
Might difficulty 3 plus your stress, which I think is adding 1 more hindrance.
Okay. So I'm going to spend 3 from my might to counterbalance the stress. I rolled an 8.
What does this look like, though?
Oh gosh. So Emily is aiming high with this. So, child in lap, Xander's pulling away. And so Emily is aiming more for headshot. because that's going to be sort of above Nicholas's head. And so that's where she's going to kind of take this baton that she's kind of extended out of her bag. And she kind of very quietly just sort of moves around Zander and just sort of like hits it on the top of the head with the baton.
I'm still going to say that this swarm that poured out from Zander's action, it's impossible to miss. So you swinging that baton, you're not actually going to cause any severe damage to Tom, but you are going to do your 2 points of light weapon damage to the swarm as you're just swatting down these bugs. These hornets are just flying with sickening plops and crunches that somehow you still hear them despite the noise of this drone being so loud. Your swatting almost seems to agitate them even more, and they begin to spiral and spiral. And we're going to say that the swarm is attacking you, Emily, because of your attack here.
Sure.
This is level 3 creature. So it's going to be a speed defense here. Level 3 means that your difficulty 3 plus the 1 for your stress.
Oh dear. All right. I'm spending points left and right.
And remember, if you take damage, it will go to your speed. And if that hits 0, that's a bad thing.
Oh, okay. Thank you for the reminder. I will not spend 3 then because I'm already at 9 or 12 for speed. So I don't want to do that. All right. I'm just going to roll. Please roll better. Please, there we go. 19. That's better.
All right. That is a minor effect as well. So you're able to avoid this. What situation changes because of this as well?
So I would say, and I'm not sure if this kind of qualifies, but she's just frantic sort of with this baton. And so that's how she's just sort of like hitting things. If it would do some sort of destruction to the general paper hornet's nest of this, I don't know if that would count as sort of changing it a bit.
Extra damage with this, but we could say that you're like positioning it in a way that would give like someone an asset later on.
Got it. Yeah. And I was sort of imagining that sort of the paper outline of him wasn't necessarily the damage, like the damage was kind of to the hornets themselves. So it's kind of more just that the paper area of him is a little less recognizable, maybe.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely. And you like the paper is like shredding off in various places. Yeah. Awesome.
So just hoping that makes it like, no, it's really not a person looking thing. It's just a bunch of hornets.
And Zander, that Tom is attacking you now. This is going to be a might defense roll. This is a also level 3 creature, so it's going to be difficulty 3 plus your stress that it would hinder you.
Okay, that'll put me at 4.
And we'll go ahead and say that if Emily's minor effect, if you wanted to give him an asset on this, you could do that. We'll go ahead and say that you get the asset. So that'll counteract it. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Thank you. Rolled a 5 difficulty, I think.
There you go. What does this look like as the thing, like you are pulling Nicholas away and it like stands up and it goes to like bludgeon you by like just swinging its arms, wild clubs at you. How are you fending this off?
It's very reflexive. I can catch it in the corner of my eye, this movement, so I know how to bring up an arm or a leg to block the attack to reduce the blow.
Fantastic. And it's still paper at the end of the day, so it hits you and it hits hard, but it also like crumples as it hits. So you're able to essentially endure the onslaught here. That is both of their turns. Frieda, I think you would have been the closest because you were waiting at the door. So you'll get there next, and then Naveen and Lucian, you two can go in either order. So Frieda, you get there and you see Tom, this creature, attacking Zander. Meanwhile, Emily is just wildly swinging her baton at the swarm that's around her, and Nicholas has fallen to the ground and is just sobbing on the floor.
Yeah. Frieda would be, I'd like to find something that we could use to once they get out of the room to like block the door and keep him trapped in here to make our escape easier.
Okay.
I have an ability called Careful Observation where I can spend an intellect point. And if I succeed a difficulty 4 perception task, I can make note of an inanimate object within immediate distance that's like related to our current investigation.
Awesome.
So I don't know if that would.
No, I think that very much applies. So go ahead and do the task. We'll say it's difficulty. Did it say what difficulty?
Difficulty 4.
Okay. Yeah, let's get the roll in.
And while you're doing that, welcome in raiders from Trooper SJP. Thanks for the raid.
Hey, Trooper. Great seeing you.
Oh, and I roll an 8. Great.
All right. I'm going to give you something. You have the careful observation. You remember that those dining room table chairs are very much able to be like propped up under the door to stick it. But with the failure, we'll say that it takes you an extra turn to get back to the dining room and then back to the hallway, if you're okay with that, if that's what you decide to do.
Yeah, that's fine. And Frieda would be saying, I'm getting something to block the door. Hurry.
Awesome. And you rush back to the dining room, crunching some of these portraits and knickknacks that fell in that hallway the whole time. And you grab a chair. As you grab a chair, you see Naveen and Lucian are rushing past you as fast as Lucian rushes, I suppose. He never seems that much in a rush. So which one of you do you think would reach there first, Lucian or Naveen?
I am trained in initiative tasks, and that's the only reason I think I show up first.
Yeah, absolutely then.
Because I'm courageous again.
So what do you want to do then, Naveen, as you fly down this hallway and you see this sight?
Burst into the room and spray this dude with pepper spray.
All right.
I wanted to ask Steven, I have a Cypher that is well-being. You're jacked up on a cocktail of fear and adrenaline. For 1 round per Cypher level, you can act as if you were 1 step higher on the damage track than you actually are. Does that come into play?
So the damage track is how much damage you've taken. So if you are hurt, then you could use that Cypher to pretend that you're not.
Okay, I'm only stressed, so no. Okay. Yeah, so what do I need to roll?
Well, it depends on, you want to use, I think for pepper spray, that would be a speed, I feel like. You're trying more for accuracy here. So it'll be speed, difficulty of 3, and you are hindered twice, I believe. Yes.
Yeah.
So you're looking for a difficulty 5 total. And as you're doing that, welcome, Grouch Couch. Thank you for raiding us. We appreciate having you here.
Welcome in.
Why do you not say your welcome message that you expressed at the start of the stream? Is it because you know that it is incorrect? Or have you just forgotten?
Willkommen Abenteuer Adventures in Lollygagging.
You are an embarrassment.
So that's 15, which base at difficulty 5.
Which was exactly what you needed. It was 3 and it was hindered twice, so you needed the 5, so you're good. So pepper spray. The rules didn't account for what pepper spray would do to this paper. I like the idea of it really agitating these insects. Does it count as like a light weapon?
It doesn't actually. Well, maybe it does that, but I just have it as inexpensive is the only note I have for it.
So it doesn't like list itself as a light weapon or anything.
No.
Okay. We'll go ahead and count it as a light weapon. As you are just soaking this paper with this pepper spray. We'll say it kind of weakens and softens the paper of this hornet's nest monstrosity in front of you. And the droning of these bugs gets louder and louder. And where you soak it with this pepper spray, say you hit it in the torso or something, because you're trying to avoid Zander as well, as much as you can. This room is being filled with pepper spray for everyone inside. Where that paper is weakened, a swarm of insects again burst out, and there is now a second swarm in this room as you've agitated them even more, and you tell that you did some damage to him, but there's a lot of bugs in this room right now. And that brings us to Lucian. What are you doing here?
Lucian will be just behind Naveen. How crowded is the room when I
It's
arrive?
pretty crowded, but you could fit in if you want to. Naveen was the one who was in the door. Zander and Emily are both inside the room, so there's space to get in there. And then, of course, there's the monstrosity Tom, who's full of insects. The swarm don't take up any space. And then Nicholas is like sprawled out on the floor right now, just sobbing. It seems like everything's ignoring him. He doesn't seem to be in danger at all from these insects or from Tom.
Nobody has taken him?
He fell when Zander was struggling with Tom.
I see. Could Lucian grab the child and run out of the room with the child?
Absolutely. So we'll say that is a difficulty 2 task here. I don't think gymnastics would necessarily apply on this case, and it would be might.
It is might. It is a pity. I am strong of mind, but I am not strong of body. Would mathematics be appropriate?
We're going to get one break of you every session. And this was our one.
I'd like to have friendly help on deck for if he fails.
Yeah, so you would want to use your ability then, where if he fails, you can give him a reroll. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
Nice.
So you can always call that out after they fail the roll.
Got
too.
it. I'm sorry, I didn't know if it needed to be before or
No,
after.
I appreciate you saying it. I'm not trying to say that you shouldn't have said it. I'm just saying that you can always use it afterwards without being hindered by that.
Cool.
So Lucian, I don't think math would work necessarily here. You do start seeing these swarms like go in all these sorts of numbers and calculations, but it's chaos theory at this point where it's unpredictable.
what about religion?
I think I'm going to need the might difficulty 2 roll from you.
I see. Well then, it means I need to roll a 6.
You got this.
Do as the kids 10 years ago said, and YOLO it. I rolled a 3.
Oh dear.
Lucian, you can do it. Remember that thing you showed me at the gym? And get my friendly help.
So you failed a task, and because of friendly help, you can try again without spending effort.
You mean the broken urinal that fired out urine?
Yes, that one.
I don't understand why that is important here.
But just try again.
Because the child is urine soaked. Yes, I understand. I rolled a 14.
There you go. What's this look like?
Let's see.
You grab a urine-soaked child.
Will reach down and he will grab the child and he will say as he's picking him up, "That is not your father anymore. I know that you have dreamed of a life with your father. And there is nothing more painful than memory of a future that does not exist. Come with me now. You might see your mother again." And he will not listen to the boy's reaction. Instead,
The boy's reaction wasn't listening to you either.
Damn
He's yelling,
right.
"Papa, Papa," the whole time. But you have a firm grip on him, and he is not getting away this time. Okay. So that is
come
the
with
end
me if you want to
I knew you were
live.
going to do that. I knew you were going to do it. I need to start pausing longer because I know you don't like the dead air. And eventually I'll win this game of chicken. All right. So you
Willkommen, Abu Tur.
You grab Nicholas, and he's screaming, and he's like throwing his hands and arms, but it's not going to do any serious damage to you as you pull him out into the hallway. We are at the top of the round, and this time I do want initiative here, so let's go ahead and get speed rolls from everyone. And it's essentially difficulty 3. You'll factor in your stress. If you pass, you go first. If you fail, you go after the bad guys.
We do not factor in any skills unless it's specifically initiative, yes?
Correct. Yes. And I think Naveen has an initiative advantage, but I don't think it matters because she rolled a
No,
GM
I
intrusion.
rolled a 1.
Oh.
So
All right. Which one's this again? Speed?
Speed, yes.
Speed.
8.
All right. So it looks like
Also
Frieda is the only one that's going first here, right? Sorry, Zander, did you have something?
No, I just said also 8.
Okay. So Frieda, you are in the dining room now. You just grabbed one of these chairs. You get to go first. What are you doing?
She doesn't necessarily know everything that's going on in the room still, so she will be bringing the chair, dropping it off in the hallway, presuming she needs to get another one to block the door, and running right back to grab another and heading back in.
Okay. Perfectly. So you are able to do that, and you've got the chair essentially ready to go when everyone's out of the room. And then we're going to have our monsters go. We're going to start with Tom. And Zander, you're still... I'm sorry, did you have something?
I already went. Can I change what I do?
It depends on what you change it to. Is your finger off the piece?
No, it's still there.
No.
Can I actually take a lighter and try and get smoke and stuff near the like fire detectors to hopefully get like that going off? Never mind. It's not like a
I'm
store,
not sure.
so there's not
no,
like a suppression system.
There's no sprinklers.
I'm
or
thinking
anything
of like a
that.
grocery store. I don't know why. That's what I always imagine.
No worries.
Why is the
How, like,
fire
worked
alarm
there
going
for
off?
like 10 years.
Yeah, the fire alarm's going off.
Perhaps,
Who's making toast right now?
perhaps, however, the loud sounds will confuse the insects who use various forms of sonic powers or some other kinds of bullshit to detect where people are. Leave my
Disrupt
sister alone. It was an excellent idea.
I don't know how sensitive these things are to sound, Frieda. So if you wanted to try an intellect test to see if that would be worthwhile, I'd give you that.
Yeah, I'll do that.
Okay, they're level 3 creatures,
Shit.
so we'll say difficulty 3. You
Has
already
Frieda-
rolled and you beat difficulty 0. You have
Has
no idea
Frieda
if this sound would help.
use my assets?
I should slow down.
Did you?
I did not get gifted one because it was only for
Yeah,
Oh,
3
that's
people.
right.
Yeah.
and even then, it wouldn't be enough because she needed 3 and she beat 0.
Yeah.
And it was a 2, which is a GM intrusion.
It is.
So we'll say that you did try it, right? Like you got your lighter up and you're going for the smoke alarm, right?
But it's dead. I'm just
I
standing
think that's
there like
too
an
easy of an
idiot.
intrusion. I don't want to
It's
let you off that easy.
actually the gas
okay.
main that she puts it next to.
You
You
hit
try
that.
Are you
it.
trying to kill us?
Yes, I am.
You got the lighter up, and that smoke alarm starts blaring. That klaxon, the
Uh-huh.
and that's going to drive these insects into an even greater frenzy. I'm going to say that
No.
you have a hindrance on these defense against the swarms for this round.
Okay, just me?
Anyone who's being attacked by the swarms, not by Tom because he's
Oh,
not one of the
no.
insects.
What is happening? Why are they flying around even faster? They look more mad. What
You've
is
been
going
But
swatting
you
at
guys
them, of
can
course they're mad.
clearly hear the loud blaring.
Yeah,
and
very, very loud.
But Emma
like,
doesn't know it's
don't
Frieda's fault.
worry! The fire department will be arriving soon!
Also, these smoke alarms don't like call the fire department either. They're just battery operated.
She's panicking. She's got stress, you know?
Perhaps
that's fair.
in
That's very fair.
Hamburg they have more advanced systems.
Well, we're in
Do you
Tankstedt,
know this
which is a suburb of
not to be
Hamburg,
true?
which is a very rural community. So, yes, I do know that this is not true.
The Germans are very industrious,
They're great
good with
engineers.
engineering.
Regardless, I'm gonna have
Little known fact,
Emily?
they are also excellent firefighters.
When they get here, we'll find out. Emily and Naveen, you are both being attacked by swarms right now. It's difficulty 3, which a hindrance will raise it to 4, and then add your stress on top of that. These are speed defense rolls.
I rolled a 1 on mine. Do I get a gym intrusion?
I'm going to do that on your turn when you go.
Right.
Thank you for reminding me of that.
But
I rolled
at
a
this
17.
point, you just want a speed test?
Speed test, yes. 17.
Nice.
What was your stress at, Emily?
Still just 1 level.
Okay. So 3, 4, 5. You beat a 5. That's great. Naveen, you have a second GM intrusion here. First of all, Naveen, you are taking 2 stress as these swarms start stinging you.
No joke.
And I'm going to say for this GM intrusion specific to your defense, we'll say that your pepper spray, it runs out entirely. You used up that whole can, and as you were trying to defend yourself, you get stung and you drop it or something like that. It's just empty. It's unusable at this point.
Okay.
Emily,
sorry,
you are
going back to the stress thing. I'm at 2 levels of stress, and my toss roll 100
so
by
you were
3.
You get 2 more points of stress. So
what was
your
I'm
total
at 8
stress?
points total.
Yes. So you're still hindered by 2. You're not at the 3rd level of stress yet.
Okay. But I am at 2 levels of stress now.
Yes. So it's the whole divide by 3 thing that Cypher loves to do. But as long as you remember that total, I can do the divide by 3 for you. So Emily, you have your extendable baton, and you are swinging them off. They're still buzzing against you. All of them are beating down on you. They're hitting you, but they're not able to actually sting you. They don't land long enough on you when you're able to swipe them off to get them away. Zander, this nest monstrosity, hornet's nest person, this paper is crinkling, and it brings another arm to slam down on you. This is a might defense roll here. Difficulty 3 plus your hindrances.
Okay, I think it's just a 1 from stress so far.
Yeah.
It's all rolled as is. Got a 12, difficulty 4.
Long just loves ripping it. Difficulty 4 is all you needed. What does this look like? As you're engaged in battle with this monster?
After I see Lucian secure the child, I can focus on what's in front of me, so I'm able to be ready for any of its actions.
All right. And there is tons and tons of pepper spray released into this room. So all of you, despite not actually being hit directly with it, it's still in the air. It's still starting to sting you, but it's not enough to give you a hindrance yet. And then it is the rest of your all turns. Frieda was the only one to go, so the rest of you can go in any order. So just call out if you have something to do. Go ahead and call it out, and we'll go. And Naveen, I will do your intrusion on your turn.
The child is secured. Everyone get out.
Is everyone trying to retreat?
Yeah.
Okay.
Emily would follow.
Lucina would run with the child. And he would say, "To me! I have the child, to me!" As he would scream.
Following.
Lucian, I'm going to say that doesn't require an action. You're able to move with the child. You're mostly out of danger because you were out of that room, and now you're getting further away down the hallway where all the damaged knickknacks are. Emily, I think I would like a speed test. We'll just call it difficulty 2 to try and get out of here without the swarm following you.
Okay, so it'll be 3 then because of my level of stress.
Yes.
And I did not pass. I got an 8, which only passes a level 2.
Okay. So you are still able to get out of the room, but enough of these bugs are on you and attacking you still that you're not able to completely get free of that swarm. They're just kind of following you along. But you are still out of the room, which leaves Zander and Naveen.
Sorry, could I have friendly help with Emily's roll just now? Is that what I could do?
Is there a limit to how often you can
There
do
is
that?
not. There is not. It
So like
just says if your friend tries a task and fails, they can try again without spending any effort if you help. You can provide the advantage even if you are not trained in the task they are retrying. It's an enabler skill.
Enabler might be an action. Let me double check here.
Right.
We'll go ahead and say it counts for now. And if one of you can look it up, we'll figure it out later. But we'll go ahead and say, Emily, that you can get the friendly help this time. We'll say it goes off once per round for now.
Okay.
So Emily, if you want to
reroll
it, speed, you can.
Okay. I'll take it while it's here because it might go away. So let's try this again. And I rolled a 13, so that would pass the level 4.
All right. So before you had trouble getting away from the swarm, maybe Naveen is fighting off her own swarm here, and the bugs kind of like merge and combine on her, which makes sense because you have a GM intrusion. So Emily, you were able to get out of that room without the swarm following you.
Nice.
Naveen, since you did the friendly help, let's go ahead and just give you the focus right now on this turn. You have 2 swarms on you. We'll say that's what your GM intrusion was. That both swarms are now focused on you. If you want to try and get out, that's going to be a speed test like Emily had to do. It's going to be a bit more difficult, though, because there's a lot more bugs.
And I have my hindrances as well.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna try and show myself. So that's just speed.
All right, so it's speed. Difficulty 2, I said, to get away. 2 more for your stress, and 1 more because of the extra swarm. So you need difficulty 5 here. So that's a 15 or better.
Yeah. That's a 19.
You're extremes.
There you go.
You're at the bottom or at the top.
Seriously.
So you're getting the success. What's it look like, and what circumstance are you changing with your minor effect?
As similar to last time, I'm looking to I think it's just fucking off as quickly as possible. It's pretty clear she didn't want to be doing any of this anyway. So she's just leaving. No, that she can't leave. And I would like for the minor effect to be closing the door behind me so that there's a minor barrier between him and like that he has to at least get through to get to us.
We'll say your minor effect is that you are at the door ready to close it as soon as Zander passes through because he's still in the room right now.
Oh, right. I'm so sorry, Long. I forgot.
No, I've never closed a door on someone in lollygagging. That's not my MO.
Never.
So you get away from the swarm and you have that door ready to close. Frieda was already on her way back with a chair, and then she stopped a little bit for the lighter. Zander, are you trying to just get away here?
Yeah, if everyone's cleared, I'll come out of the room.
Okay. Tom is very, very slow. He's not able to keep on you the same way that the swarms are. So if you choose to leave, you're able to get away without a roll. So you can get out of that room. Naveen, you close it. Frieda, after you put your lighter away, you grab that chair and you slam it up there. We'll go ahead and drop out of combat here. All of those bugs and Tom are in that room. You are all panting. A few of you have been stung by a few insects. If not, you're bruised and exhausted. The adrenaline is rushing. Lucian, you are grabbing Nicholas and pulling him out the front door. And as you go to the front door, you see Karen is still on the steps, but in front of her are 2 large, burly men, 2 brutes of human beings. They've got fairly gray, like whitish skin. They're wearing these blue coveralls, like these workman's coveralls. They look very similar, almost like brothers, but they're definitely not twins. And one in front, you see a name tag that says Beacon. The other one has a name tag that says How. They look up at you. They see you holding Nikolaus, who is just sobbing, but he's resigned himself. You've gotten him out of the house. They just look at you. We're the exterminators.
Right.
Yeah, call.
There is a nest in the backyard and an infestation in the bedroom.
Fair enough. We'll take care of it. And the two of them, without asking many more questions, they just start walking to the backyard. The rest of the group of you start piling up at the front door with Lucian and Karen there. What are we doing? What's the next plan?
Do you not trust them? Are they not the ones that Karen called the first time and their work was insufficient and they let this get so much worse?
Well, I think our job here is mostly done. If you want to investigate them, you can do it elsewhere.
I was thinking that perhaps we knock on a neighbor's door and see if someone can keep an eye on Nicholas here if they do not have relatives in the area.
Perhaps it is better to take the mother and the son to a hospital to have them inspected. Mother is not in good condition. If you truly wish to investigate more, we can return afterwards.
No, she needs help. She definitely needs help. Yes, we should get them medical care.
Agreed with that?
Yeah.
Put Nicholas and Karen into your panel van, the mystery machine. The driveway is almost blocked by this Beacon and How truck. It's a large box truck, but it's only halfway blocking the driveway, so you're able... Yes, go ahead, Lucian. I love the raising the hand. It makes me feel like a teacher.
As we are leaving, would it be possible to snap a photograph, perhaps the license plate number?
Absolutely.
And if one is not visible, would it be possible to open the door and get a VIN number for the vehicle as well?
We'll say you can do both. This is a box truck, but the doors are... It's kind of like a delivery truck where the doors slide back, and they're open on both sides right now. So you can get a picture of the license plate, which is visible, and you can get up on the dash and you can snap a picture of the VIN number as well. So you have both of those. While you're like in the driver's seat, you kind of like look back and you see that there are no like tool racks or anything like that in the back. It's empty. There's a few, there's like a shovel, rake, and a wheelbarrow in the back. But that's it. There's nothing much else in there. You don't see any sort of insecticides or anything like that. It's pretty much barren.
I will take the shovel and return to our van.
All right.
And I will hand Zander back his phone, and I will say, "Here is your phone."
When did you take this?
You handed it to me in the backyard because of your inability to take photos.
All right. The memory's filling. How many did you take?
Several.
That face.
Then we shall leave. Everyone in the van.
You get everyone in the van. It's a little bit more crowded with Nicholas and Karen in there. Nicholas is no longer resisting in the same way. He's still a child at this point. He got away once. You pulled him back, and now he's just crying. He's there with his mom in the back seat, just kind of holding her. She's still 1,000-yard stare. You check her pulse. She's doing okay, but it is a little faint. She needs medical attention, so taking her to the hospital is the right call. The fire alarm is still going in the house, so likely some neighbors do come out and look, but they see you taking Karen and Nicholas away, and they assume that you all know each other. Like, it doesn't look like you're kidnapping someone, essentially. And you drive away.
I carried a young boy out of the house. He was screaming and
They came out
crying for
later.
his father.
Later.
And then I stole
I'm trying to
a
give you the benefit
shovel
of the doubt here.
and brought it into the same vehicle where the child was. These are very poor neighbors.
They're very poor neighbors. You have to remember to mind your business. You know, that's the mark of a good neighbor, is one who minds their business. And these are good neighbors. You go ahead and you leave. You take them to the hospital. They ask a lot of questions. You answer to the best of your ability. Are you explaining some of the weird stuff? Like, what is the story that you're going with?
I think just a very non-specific. We were making a house call to the home of these two, and it appears that the mother might have had some type of medical incident. So we wanted to get her care right away.
And they accept the story. They see that someone's in help, and it's not like there's gunshot wounds or anything like that where forms need to be filed. So after getting as much information out of you as they can, both Karen and Nicholas are taken for examinations, and you all begin the drive back to the archive with all of the documentation you have. Is that the plan? It's towards the end of the workday, and it's about a 45-minute drive. So it would make sense if that's what you're going to do.
That was my idea, if anyone had any detours.
I'm feeling a bit overwhelmed. That was a lot there. And I think I might need some medical attention on my jaw. So I would like to go back to the office.
The drive is probably a somber drive. A lot of quiet reflection, not one really where people are making jokes, maybe the same way that it was the drive out to the suburbs. It passes you. It's late enough that you miss most of rush hour traffic, and you make your way back to the office where you have to go in to drop a few things off before you can split up and go home. As you're going into the church, St. Catherine's Church, you see that there is a plastic tube, an air duct, a portable air duct essentially that's running out, and you hear the sound of an industrial fan echoing as you go through that main entrance, and then you curve through the hallways and down these stairs underground into the church's basement, following this air duct as the fans get louder and louder, and it cannot help but remind you of the droning of those insects that you were just hearing. You cannot get away from this buzzing, and it begins to make you feel nauseated all over again. But fortunately, the smell, the fear is not accompanying it, but that memory lingers. You make your way into the office, and you see that lights are still on in here, and it's not for cleaning crew, but Ludwig von Schluter, your boss, is still here. And it's a couple hours past when he would normally go home. So it's kind of surprising that he'd still be here. It's not like he needs to wait for you all to report in or anything like that. You have a lot more autonomy than that. So it is a little strange that he's there. But as you all walk in, you see him standing in front of his office, looking stern, you could say. Ludwig is the only way you can describe him is round. He's got a very round head. He's got hair that goes in a very round hairstyle around the back of his head. He's got very round eyes and round glasses that magnify them even more. And this is as stern as he can look. He's not an intimidating man, but you've seen this before when he's upset about something, especially you, Frieda, because you recently had a reprimand about some missing files from a previous case. And that's when he says, "Frieda, I must speak with you now."
Certainly.
Into my office.
And she goes without question.
All of you immediately know that Frieda is in trouble about something. But then you go about putting your things away. And as Frieda goes into the office, you hear the door shut. Frieda, you take a seat.
Here?
I'm sorry?
Is Joanna here?
She is not. No.
Okay.
Frieda, you take a seat in front of the desk, and Ludwig circles around and sits in his chair, and you see his expression soften in a way, almost forced to soften. Frieda, I must have a word with you. Do you have anything you wish to tell me? Something you may have forgotten about? I would not hold it against you. I just want you to be honest.
Forgotten about what? Did I miss a document or
anything you feel that I should know? You can trust me.
No, if I have done something wrong, please tell me.
Frieda, why do you not trust me? I know the business with the reprimand. It was unsavory, but it was the first major mistake of my tenure, and I needed to let it be known that standards could not fall. I see so much potential in you, so much so that I hired your brother despite his lack of social skills. So I must ask you again, why? Why do you not trust me?
I do trust you. I don't understand what I've done wrong.
This is how it will be? Will it always be like this? Fine. We will play your game. And he reaches into the desk and pulls out a folder. This very waterlogged, water-damaged folder, and he just throws it on the desk in front of you. And you see that the papers are kind of like stuck together from the water, the moisture. They're still not fully dried out.
Uh-huh.
And there is a Post-it note on top that has very smeared ink. But you recognize the handwriting of Shirley Harlock, the previous archivist. And it says Frieda on it.
Have I seen this before?
No, never. This was under your desk, hidden. Why would you hide it?
I have not seen this before.
Somehow, it always ends up being not your fault. But fine. We will pretend that you have filed this properly, that you have not mismanaged more files. I do not wish to have another problem like before, but I expect that you will recreate this from the memory. I know you've read this. Do not lie. It is damaged. Whatever you remember, I expect you will put it back the way it was, file it properly. We will show it to the group, and we will handle the channel the way it's meant to be handled. Agreed?
I will deal with this, yes.
Understood. Perhaps someday you will trust me.
And she just kind of like nods at him and takes the files and goes to her desk.
You take the file and you put it on your desk and you open the folder up, and the very first page is a statement. Most of it is illegible. That Shirley Harlock liked a pen that had a very flowing fountain ink, and it appears that the water has ruined most of this. There are only certain parts that you can make out. But I'll go ahead and show you this statement here. And the first thing it says, witness name, Shirley Harlock herself. Statement date, most of the date is erased, except that you see that the year was 24, you think. Incident location, Hamburg Prison Hospital, psychiatric. Incident date, 31/10/1999, 30/10/2021 to present. You see that there are a few sentences that are legible here. The very first one says, Frieda, I do not know who else to trust with this. I do not expect you to believe my story, but I cannot let it go undocumented. Keep it secret and share only with those that you trust. And you recognize this handwriting as your former boss. So you worked with her for a long time, fairly closely. It's not hard to recognize this handwriting. Most of this statement is lost. You can try to figure it out, but that ink has just been blotted together. There is one section that seems to be mostly saved, and it reads, I located the former doctor in a prison psychiatric ward in Hamburg, of all places. Even if I believed in coincidences, I would still find that difficult to dismiss. Prison staff describe him as quiet and polite, but warn me not to trust the man. I've seen the crime photos, and I know what Dr. Malloy is capable of. The plexiglass barrier doesn't feel thick enough as he sits across from me. I took his statement, appended to this statement. Over the hours-long discussion, I could almost sympathize for him. He describes his crimes like he was a witness and not an active participant, as if he was haunted by the details. The discussion was productive and led me to, and then the rest of it is not legible as well. You see that there are these papers that are just stuck together in the back. You can tell that there were multiple statements, possibly a lot of evidence reports and things like that. This was a rather large case file that's been mostly ruined here. You can pore over it to try and get some more information, but whatever you can try to figure out will not be satisfactory to Ludwig. You will not be able to recreate most of this.
Okay. She definitely would try to pore over it, though, to see, just to try and get as much as she can. But she does have intentions then to set up an interview with this Dr. Malloy and try and recreate this to the best of her abilities.
And the rest of you see Frieda come out after a few minutes of going in the office. Would you say that you waited for her? Did you want to talk to her about it? You see her come out, put papers down on her desk, start flipping through them. There's not much to read, though. It very clearly is a ruined file, like many other ruined files that happened this week. How many of you would say that you're just ready to leave after an exhausting day?
I'd say that Emily
Looking around.
It is there, but sort of doing the thing where she looks like she's organizing things on her desk, but she's sort of looking to see who's going to talk to Frieda first. So she's still there. She wants to get some medical attention, but she's going to wait.
I would have rounded up my papers and left for the day. Frieda can handle herself. She's a senior investigator.
How about Lucien or Naveen? Naveen, I couldn't hear you. I'm sorry.
Sorry, I said I was sticking around. I just want to check on Frieda.
Lucien would remain for his sister, but he would be spending his time at his desk, staring at Charles while waiting.
All right, so Frieda, you have a few moments. You read as much as you can, and you realize that these people are in their cubicles nearby, but they're not actually working that hard. They just seem to be pretending to be doing something, or Lucien just staring at a bug.
I am concentrating quite hard.
Actually, when it looks like Frieda is looking up from her papers, Naveen is like, everything okay?
Just lovely. I love having my work critiqued that I was unaware that I had to complete. And she'll kind of stand up and she feels bad that she was kind of mean to you. So she's going to pinch the bridge of her nose and just be like, did you ever meet the previous archivist?
No, but I've heard really wonderful things about her from you, though.
Well, when the flood happened, I keep my files meticulous. No judgment on you all, but your desk organization does leave some things wanting. And she's kind of looking at Emily. I understand we all have our own methods, but organization is fantastic. It should have saved me from this problem, where allegedly there is hidden files underneath my desk that I was unaware of directly from the archivist. So now
something you dropped
I don't
in the flood? The flood
drop files, but it was addressed to me. So now I have to find this Dr. Malloy and interview him and reacquire his statement that she took from him. And I don't know why she took his statement in the first place, but, well, just, there goes my weekend.
If you need help looking into it, you know what? Help, Frieda.
And she just kind of nods because yet again she fucked up her work, and she's just, this day was terrible and we all need a shower, multiple showers.
Yes.
This can wait till the morning. Utzin, you're
do you
coming
all
over for
disperse?
dinner, right?
I have no need for nourishment at this time. But thank you. Also,
Okay.
sister, you do not make mistakes. You merely make decisions.
She just kind of nods in this is usual. Yep.
Say that you gather your things and you begin to pack up to go home, whatever that takes. Frieda, you might take a few extra pieces of paperwork that you've just received to go over them later that night. Zander, we'll start with you. Since you were the first one to leave, you'll be the first one to get home. What does your apartment look like? Or do you live in an apartment at all? Where do you live?
Say I've got a nice little house or a condo.
Okay. Your own place that you own. What kind of view does it have? Remember that Hamburg has a lot of rivers and canals and things like that. So there's plenty of opportunity here for a nice looking place.
Yeah, I'd say that's a nice nature-ish view backyard. Maybe a field.
Like a park or something in the city then?
Yeah.
Okay. So you got a pretty nice place then. You come home, you set down your keys, whatever files, paperwork. You go to your kitchen, maybe you wash your hands just to get some of that gross insect dust ash off of you. You look up out this kitchen window that normally has a fantastic view of a beautiful park, but that's not your view. You're looking out on this overcast sky. This storm is threatening above a flat, dry landscape that seems to be planted with some kind of grain that's billowing violently in the strong wind. You kind of cock your head. This is not right. This doesn't make sense. You looked at this view how many times? And as you watch a little longer, you see that a few cows just slowly start to enter your field of vision here, like a small little herd of 6 or 7 or so, and they're just slowly eating grass. Why would cows be in Hamburg? This doesn't make sense. You keep watching, and a bit later, a man in what looks to be like farm clothes enters from the right, dragging a woodcutter's axe behind him. And a dog is at his feet, just kind of like circling around. The man just approaches one of the cows very, very casually, but without warning, just grabs that axe and swings it down. You can almost hear the crunch as he sinks this axe into a cow. You hear the braying as it collapses down. And with such speed, he pulls that axe out and runs towards another one, does it again. And he starts running towards a third cow before the herd catches on and they start running away and they get away from him. The dog is ripping into that first cow, just shredding it to pieces, just eating as much as it can. You see the man drop the axe, and he also puts his face into this cow, and you see him pull his face out, and it's just covered in blood. you pass out. You wake up around 9-10 p.m. at night in your bed. You went to sleep at some point, probably from exhaustion. You're still in the clothes that you were wearing. You didn't even get a chance to shower yet. But this dream is very, very vivid.
Just a nightmare. I don't get up to clean myself.
Emily, where do you come home to?
I would say that Emily is sharing an apartment of some kind. She probably has like multiple roommates. She's sort of going with kind of the cheapest option. So definitely sharing space.
And you get home and you mentioned cleaning up, right?
Yeah, yes, she's got all manner of dirt and dead hornets and whatnot, like in her, because she's got super frizzy hair and whatnot.
You get yourself cleaned up as best you can. In the mirror, you're looking at the bruise. You can see that there's going to be a bruise on your chin for a while. And you start feeling some of your teeth, and they feel a little loose, but you don't think they're going to fall out. They should stiffen back up again, hopefully in a few days. It's going to be painful eating on that side. You said you have a roommate, probably?
Yeah, I would say probably 2 roommates.
Yeah, so maybe you spend the evening talking to them occasionally. You have dinner, and by the time it comes to go to bed, you start brushing your teeth. That tooth is bothering you. You feel a scratching underneath it, like something is scratching your tooth. The pain, it's coming from your gums.
And so she's doing the really like, pulling her cheek and getting real close to the mirror and just like trying to see what she can see.
You pull it open and you see a ripple in your gums. You're in fear at this point, just holding your cheek open. You see that ripple again. And then
she's yelling for one of the roommates.
Okay, like, absolutely.
Look, help, right, I can't. And she's I can't see this. Come here. And
you hear them scream as well that they're coming because they hear the panic in your voice and they start responding immediately. As you're looking, you see that your gum just begins to part underneath the tooth, and you see one of those legs, one of those hornet legs, just kind of curls up and over it and then pulls back in. As your roommate comes and looks, that pain is agonizing. You feel the scratching. You show they don't see anything. They're looking.
It's right there. It's right. It was right there.
I do not see anything. I
see.
No.
How do you not see that? It's right there.
You start looking again in the mirror, and you still feel that scratching, but you don't see the ripple anymore.
I'm not making this up. It was a bug.
A bug? You were screaming that loud for a bug?
In my mouth, under my gum.
Oh. Yeah, I would not like a bug in my mouth either. And she starts going under the counter, and she pulls out a whole bunch of a big bottle of mouthwash. Tries this.
Kill it. Yes. And so she puts way more in her mouth than she's just like, she can barely even swish it anymore because there's just like so much in there. And she's like literally like shaking her head to shake it, and just leaving it in for longer than it's supposed to, just trying to let the alcohol do its business.
And your roommate genuinely believes you and is trying to help you. But after hears a bug in the mouth, she kind of not dismisses, but reframes her expectations like it's not a life or death situation. She definitely doesn't understand what you just felt or what you just went through, though.
Yeah. It's a and then she'll spit. Do you see it? Do you see it anymore?
Nothing at all.
It still
I think
hurts.
You got it.
It still hurts. So maybe I'll go get it checked out tomorrow.
Naveen, you are headed home when you get a text from one of your friends, a friend that always seems to have tickets somewhere, always seems to have an in for you. What is this friend's name?
Oh, yes. Amelia.
Amelia. And Amelia tells you, this is very common for Amelia. She just sends you an address and a time.
Which is fucking amazing for Naveen because she had a really stressful day and she wants to just dance it out and sweat it out and be fine by tomorrow morning. So she's gonna go home and very happily see the time and the date. She's like, see in a bit. What should I wear? Black tie? Or just cotton clothes?
Something skimpy is the response.
Okay. So she'll go home and get into something skimpy.
You get to the address, and this is just like a abandoned warehouse, essentially. There's a guy wearing a very tight black shirt, black pants. He's got muscles upon muscles, and he's got a clipboard, but there's no one else around. You give Amelia's name. He checks his list, just gives you the nod, doesn't say a word. And you go into what seems to be an abandoned warehouse, but as soon as you open that door, just house music begins blasting through. You feel it in your chest, the vibration. You make your way through this crowd, this very dark crowd, and Amelia finds you. She first thing she does is she gives you a hug, and then she says, "Take this," and she hands you a tablet. Do you take it?
Yes. And then after
you proceed,
she's like, what was that?
It's gonna make you so happy.
You were the best.
And then the two of you begin dancing in this massive crowd. You're looking up and you start seeing colors and shapes of all sorts as these lights are going through. They are just blending together. You're losing track of time at this point. You know that there's a point where a few guys start hitting on you. Whether you were flirting back or not, you almost can't even remember. You're just having
off.
Yeah.
It's gorgeous enough to she brushed them all off.
Yeah, and Amelia is staying with you this whole time. And as you're looking up, you see that these colors start blending together until they almost seem to make a physical object. And it throws you off for a second. It's like, this isn't a disco. Why is there a disco ball? But that's not a ball. That's like, it's more of an oblong shape, almost like a cylinder, but it's this crystal with facets upon facets upon facets, so many flat sides you can't even count them, and it's just slowly spinning. How do they get it to spin like that, this crystal? And there's this hole that seems to be perfectly drilled through the center, but it's not hanging by that. How is it suspended in the air like that? And you are just dancing and dancing, and you cannot help but continue to look at this and feel it's not shining light off of those facets. It's pulling light in. It seems to be drawing in light. It seems to be drawing you in. It feels like it's pulling you in. And for a moment, you start feeling lighter and lighter on your feet. And you are just floating above this dance floor towards this crystal till everything fades away. There's no dance floor. There's no Amelia. There are no other guys hitting on you. It's this abyss of darkness. And this crystal continues floating and floating. And you wake up the next day, having one of the weirdest dreams and trips you've ever had. Lucian, what does the inside of your Datsun look like?
The inside is meticulously organized. The front seat is clear of debris or clutter. The hatchback is filled with rows and rows of spray paint cans and books books that were acquired under questionable legality, many of which have been already read. If it is all right with you, Game Master, I like to think that he is not currently inside of his Datsun, but rather sitting atop his Datsun, cross-legged, shirt removed. He is emaciated. The bumps of his spine and his ribs quite clear, and etched into them are numbers, so many. And when we look at him, he is currently carving additional numbers to one of his ribs as he is in the shadow of a new composition that he has painted this eve on the wall of a pesticide company. There is a large hornet with 1,000 legs attached to a leash flying in the air, and the leash is held by a young boy.
How long do you sit carving these numbers into yourself?
Indeterminate. He will not stop until his body forces him to.
This is after you've moved your Datsun, you've painted everything, you've been in and out of it a couple times before you sat down on it. You're starting to feel the collapse coming, the exhaustion coming for you. Your body is starting.
Of the flesh. I am done. You may continue.
Your body is about to give, and you slide off the roof of your car, and you look in just through your peripheral. What is the thing that you immediately notice is out of place? Something that wasn't out of place before. Something that you didn't touch before, but you keep this car so perfectly organized, and now it is clearly in the wrong spot.
Hanging from the mirror of the windshield, there is normally a dangling metallic object of many sides and many shapes. It is not there, but perhaps it is discarded like an amateur, like a slob on the floor of the car instead of
its
proper
on the floor.
Purge.
And in its place, hanging from that mirror in this what seems to be like a gas station plastic bag, just this it's got several holes in it, and there seems to be a bundle of cloth wrapped up inside of this bag.
He reaches and grabs the bag.
You take the bag off. The cloth, it's this lacy white cloth, but it's also covered in brown stains. As you start to pull it out, you see, you're smart, these brown stains, this is very, very old blood. As you pull it out, a little piece of paper drops down onto the ground. But before you see that paper, you also see a new stain on this cloth. It like unravels, and you see that this is like a lacy white dress. And in the center of it, there's a fresh stain of what looks to be black paint. You see the very vague impression of a face, a smiling face, as if a face was pressed into this white dress. You can see where the teeth would have been missing from the rest of the impression, but it was very intentional. It's not smeared. It doesn't look like they wiped off paint, but rather just pressed into it. As you look down at this paper on the ground, you see that it's a small handwritten note that says, I want to share my passion with you as well.
Lucian will hold up the face. He will stare at it. And he will say, thank you for your art.
And with that, we will close down, we will fade to black, and we will end our session there. All right, you have finished your first statement. There's a few loose ends that you may want to follow up on, but it's perfectly fine to do those next session, or we could start the next statement next session too. But yeah, we've pretty much wrapped that one up. So thank you all for playing. Let's do some shout outs. Jeff, why don't you go ahead and continue not talking so that Maitreyi can tell us what she's got going on.
That feels weird, but I get I am Maitreyi plays games on YouTube where I make system agnostic or multi-system tabletop content that centers the GM and player experience.
Awesome. As for myself, I am making my own tabletop RPG. It's called Huckleberry. It's a Weird West game. If you like horror games, if you like cowboys, this is the game for you. It's a lot of fun. We've played it here on the channel, so if you want to see how it's played by a master GM, you can check it out. We also have a quick start that just dropped on Drive-Thru-RPG. If you want to, it's got the vast majority of the rules for free. So if you want to see how it plays, go to Drive-Thru-RPG. All the links are on huckleberryrpg.com. And check it out. Jeff, what do we got going on with Lollygaggers?
Thank you for the opportunity to plug upcoming streams. Tomorrow we are returning at long last to Call of Cthulhu, where you will see the exact same people you currently see playing, slightly rearranged in terms of time period and placement on the stream. On Monday, who fucking knows? Tuesday, we are going to be playing Pharaohs and Princesses run by our friend Kipser. And Thursday, next week, we will be playing Swords of the Serpentine, where Long betrayed his family and said, peace out, bitches. But we will move ahead 5 years and we will see what has become of him. And then next week, next Friday, more Dragon Bane.
Awesome. Thank you for the
And next
opportunity to
Saturday,
thank you.
Will be more Call of Cthulhu again. It will be our
Who are we
strategy
rating, you
game
bastard?
moving forward.
Well, I'm going to jump in and I'm going to say thank you to Trooper SJP and the Grouch Couch and Ticking Time Bob Gaming. Thank you to all three of you all for rating us tonight.
Thank you.
And
who are we going to pass the love on to?
We are going to be rating Lost Tribes Gaming, who are playing Vampire the Masquerade.
Ooh.
Fantastic. And what do we say for goodbye? Choose.
Willkommen, Albert Huschne, whatever the fuck you said.
Bye.
Bye.